Hello, welcome. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Oh god. Close that. Oh god. Oh god. What is this, Unity? Get out of here, Unity. Fucking quit. I'm not doing Unity right now. Right. So we're having the begin play ordering issue, where begin play on the game mode was running after begin play on the start line. And I said that start match perhaps is a better function to put our UI spawning in. So let's just do that. Oh, which studio? Okay. I thought I was gonna crash there for a second. What was it called? I already forgot what the name was.
Start match.
Start match, thank you. So we're gonna override start match instead of begin play. And of course the super is still again gonna be start match. There we go. So hopefully now this should be happening before begin play. So that now our UI should be created before everything runs begin play. Which is good. And this is kind of why I put this in the game mode, by the way. Because I wanted somewhere that happened kind of before begin play. Because if you do stuff in begin play, then stuff is probably gonna break because you can't control the order of begin play at all. So
It still crashed for me.
That's a crash for me as well. Yes, it does. Can someone tell me why? Tell me why. Ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why. No, but seriously, can someone tell me why? The reason we're crashing, I don't blame you for not knowing. I only mentioned it kind of quickly. The reason we're crashing right now is, remember when I was looking at the call stack? This begin play in the call stack is actually being run from start match. From, you know, a game mode's start match. Like it happens in set match state and blah blah blah, shit happens, and somewhere in here it does like dispatch all begin play here. Dispatch begin play. So in the start match, in the super function, that's where begin play is being run on everything. So in our game mode, since I'm calling super start match first, like I'm beginning with a super start match, and then after that I'm creating the overlay widget. In this function, that's where begin play is run on everything. So I have to remember to put that last. If I want my overlay widget to happen before everything begins play, then I have to remember to put that first. So first I create overlay widget, then I call start match, which in turn will call like begin play and everything. Ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say. Yeah, there we go. So now we have some UI. And it even created the right one. So it created the player 0 and then player 1. Well, it says player 0, but, you know, whatever. The player 1 widget. And if I change the number of players, so I'll click the start line, and I'll select like, oh, let's have 4 players, right? Then now we have 4 widgets in the corners. So that's great.
They're not showing up for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have placed the player slot 1, 2, and whatever in the race overlay thing,
Mm-hmm.
but is it showing up when I
Have
when
you
I play?
named the slots the same thing, like in C++ and in Blueprint?
Let me check again.
Like just making sure that these names correspond to slots.
Oh,
And
no, they aren't.
oh.
Strings, am I right?
Yeah, bro. Love strings.
Sorry, Emil, could you repeat what was causing that crash still after we changed the to start match?
Yeah, so the problem was that in this super call to start match, that's where all begin plays happen. So this function does like a billion things. So whenever we call super start match, that's when begin play is going to be called on every actor. So that's why since before this was ahead, like this, that means that in this super call, every begin play happens, and then we create the overlay widgets. But by moving it to after, that means we create the overlay widget, and after we've created it, then we call begin play and everything. So that's why.
And we don't need the get world, get auth game mode there anymore. Do we?
Where?
I still have like in that start match function, I still have a get world, get auth game mode.
Oh no, that was just for me to show how to
Okay.
create. So that no, that was just some temp shit.
Thank you.
No problem. I want it that way. You are. Okay, I'm stuck on fucking Backstreet Boys now. Alright, so, cool. I died. Let's bring it back to 2 players. Right then. Alright then. So, let's make it so we can actually... Let's make it so we can actually update the status widget then. Because what's the point of having a status widget if we can't do anything with it? Like right now, the player name isn't even correct. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make a C++ base class for the status as well. Yeah! That sounds fun, Emil. Thank you. It does sound fun. So we're going to do that. So we're going to go into FG Racing Game source, FG Racing Game UI, and I'm going to... Is that GTA 5? Yeah, it does look like it. Race player status widgets.h. Race player status widget. Let's see. And I want it that way. We generate the project files.
Wait, if we would now set it to 5 players, would it crash then?
That's a good question. Let's try it now.
The array would go out of bounds, right? The
Yeah.
player slot.
I'm just wondering if that would actually promote a crash or if it will just read garbage. Since we made it just a standard C array, I'm guessing it's gonna just be garbage. Oh. It actually fails to create the player controller at all. That's interesting. Can you only have 4 players in Unreal? Oh, here, failed to create player. Let's see. Oh, yeah, here. Error. Failed to create player. Maximum number of players 4 already created. Unable to create more. It's interesting. I didn't know you can only have a maximum of 4 players in Unreal. I had no idea. That's a weird constraint, but alright. Sure. So, now you know. Now you know.
That's weird because isn't the Unreal Engine more than 4 players? Unreal Tournament, or am I mixing it up?
Well, for multiplayer, I'm sure you can create as many players as you want. For online multiplayer, I should say. But for local multiplayer, I can kind of believe that you can't have more than 4. That's interesting. I had no idea, so that's good to know. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say. Maybe that's why you can only have 4 players in Super Smash Bros. Melee, man. Because it was made in Unreal Engine 4, probably. No, it wasn't.
Hang on. How did you get it to only show up like if the player was active? I still also have like 4 widgets on my screen.
Really? Have you removed them from the overlay? So in my overlay, it should be completely empty except for the slots. So make sure you don't have any default status there.
Yeah, I only have slots there.
Oh, really? Show me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when you play, then you have 4 things. And you're not creating, you don't have 4 players right now, right?
No, I only have the one.
Only have the one. Well, let's put a breakpoint then in that add player. Oh, you still have the debug add player status in native construct.
Should I get rid of this?
Yes.
Is that the...
That's the problem, yes. So that was just for testing to make sure that the function worked. But now we want to replace that with when we actually do spawn player. Tell me why. Okay, so yeah, let's set up our base class then for the player status. Player status. Pragma wants include twice. Blueprint. User widget. Raise player status widget generated.h. All right. Yeah, I'm in a singy mood today. Sorry, guys. It happens. Thanks, guys. You think I could be a star? I can go on Idol and make one of those like meme videos with like worst idol contestant ever.
No, you would win, man.
I would win. You think so? That's cool.
Yeah,
Thanks.
totally.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I think you have a better voice than a lot of them.
You could have like you can have I can be on stage and then it like pans down to all the FG students being like woo, Emil, woo, like throwing your underwear on stage and stuff. That would be pretty pog. Like, this goes out for all my students out there. It ain't weird, I promise. Alright, so we have our status widgets. So yeah. So yeah, it's pretty pog. I gotta say, it's pretty fucking pog. So in the CPP file, I'm not gonna actually do anything right now. I'm just gonna include the header. And we're just gonna leave it like that for now until we kind of figure out what we need in here. And
Can we look at a little more on what you just wrote?
sorry.
What did it inherit from?
User widget. I'm inheriting from user widget. If I was in a boy band, do you guys think I would be like the bad one? Like the one who's kind of like edgy? He's kind of like always moody, and he gets like the rap session in like the... He gets the rap session where he talks about how hard his life is. I think that could be me. I'm the lame one. Yeah, there isn't a lame one in boy bands, Ruda. They're all cool. So now in player status, we can go to reparent blueprint, because we want this to inherit now from our base class. So to raise player status widget, the one we just created. Boom. So now our player status is inheriting from our C++ base class. Very nice. What's BTS? Beyond the Summit? Is that a...
Oh, you done fucked up now.
Is that a hot new...
That's like the biggest boy band in South Korea.
Oh, I don't listen to K-pop. I should get on that. You dumb fucked up. Yeah, so, okay. Yeah, so now it's inheriting from this. What do we want to change, right? So, the first thing we want to change, like, we want to at some point change the icon probably to what you actually have equipped. We'll get to that later. We would probably do... Niklas, get your shit together, dude. You fucking... I need you to wake up. I need...
Sorry.
I will not tolerate tiredness. We want to change the player text, I think. That's probably the first order of business here. So that this actually represents which player we are. So I'm gonna... So I'm gonna fetch this from code then, so we can change the text on it. I never wanna hear... I think that's called text block. I think it's called uText block. I'm just gonna assume. So we'll do get name text block. Yeah, sure. I'll make a getter function. We could do the same like meta equals bind widgets if we wanted to, but I'll do a getter. Getter. Blueprint implementable events. I'll just forward declare that boy. You know what? I am gonna check to make sure it actually is called text block. It might not. It is called uText block. Okay, thank God. So let's forward declare that. And then we'll have some function like voids set player name. Name. So we're gonna call this function whenever we add the status, right? So we're gonna spawn the player 0 and we're gonna say like, hey, spawn add a status widget, and then on that widget, I'm gonna set the player name. So player name will just do get name text block, and then set text. I believe let's include it. Where the hell could that be? Let's see what this is. Text block, where are you? Oh, it's in components. So again, it is components/textblock.h. Okay. And I want it that way. Set text? Yes, baby. Alright, here we have set text. It takes an f text. So there are 3 different ways of representing strings in Unreal. There's f string, which is the default, kind of the, you know, bread and butter one. Then we've talked about the other one, that's f name. So that's a hashed string, very good for lookups and comparisons. And then we have f text, and that's the third one. F text is a localized string. So whenever you have anything that's supposed to be localized, you use f text. And to actually add it to like the localization like database, so you can send that out to localization firms or whatever, you need to do a little bit more work to actually add it to like some sort of database. But we're not gonna worry about that. We're just gonna do f text from string.
I mean, what does localization mean exactly? I'm a bit confused.
Localization is when you want to translate the game. So from English to Russian or English to Chinese or something.
Oh, okay.
So then you would just hand whatever localization company you're hiring, you would just send them a huge spreadsheet of all the strings that are f texts. And they will just go by and just, you know, translate all of those. And then Unreal will replace whatever you put in for the f text with that localized version. It's a whole thing. Like, it's more complicated than just doing this. This will just hard code in this f text from a string. So this will not get added for localization. So that's why in It Takes Two we actually had to go through and patch a bunch of these things because we kept just doing from string, which meant they weren't added to the database, so they were never localized. So we had to go in and actually patch all of these to actually use the localization system. So it's a little bit more than this, but we just have to provide it for now, so I'm just not gonna care. So I'm just gonna do ftext from string. But I will say this is bad. In the 95% of cases, you shouldn't do this, but I'm doing it now. But yeah, so that's the third type of string, ftext. All right. This looks pretty good. Does it compile though? You look pretty good. Is that a Hellbenders reference? Nice. Thomas just came out as cool. Alright, so it does compile, which means that we need to call this function, right? Because right now we're not calling it from anywhere, so we're not setting the name to anything. So, let's do that then. First, we have to use this class. Remember, in the overlay widget, we used whenever we're creating player status widget, we're just this T subclass is just user widgets because we didn't have a C++ base class. So I'm just gonna replace this with our actual now race player status widgets. Forward declare it.
What was the difference between including and forward declaring?
Forward declaring is faster, but you cannot use the class in any way.
Okay.
You can only like say like, oh, this is supposed to be a T subclass of URace player status widget, but you can't like instantiate it or dereference a pointer to URace player status widget. You can essentially just make pointers, but it is much faster compile time wise. So that's why. Okay. So now, when we actually do create the player status, we can replace this from a user widget to a URace player status widget. And what I'm gonna do actually is I'm gonna make an array of these. So I'm gonna make an array of URace player status widgets. Status widgets.
You have to include it in the race overlay widget CPP file then, right?
Yes, exactly. Very good. So include it.
I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't me, it was Visual Studio auto-including. Okay.
Your reliance on technology is staggering.
I don't want you to think I'm a better student than I am.
Like kids these days don't even write their own includes anymore. What is our world coming to? You probably do drugs and worship the devil as well. Sorry?
We're gonna make it a U property.
Yeah, let's make it a U property. It's probably safe, yeah. Since it is a U object, it's better to always make them a U property. Even though they won't be garbage collected when they're on the screen. Like when we add a widget to the screen, they will kind of be conserved, so they won't be garbage collected. But it's always good to make a U property anyway. So that was a good catch. Very good, Gregor.
Is it always good too?
Pretty much always, yeah. I will say 99.5% of the case, it's good.
Do we need to include the what's it called? The URace player status widget in the CPP somewhere?
Yep. Guys, it's 13:37 right now. You guys want to make a wish?
I wish that you are a star.
Thanks. I wish that too. Wait,
But
that's
you're
all
not.
of our wishes. What? It's a Christmas miracle. And then it happens.
Yeah, but you're not a star.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So what I'm gonna do? Yeah, I'll sing for you at the graduation. What do you want to hear? I'll sing like fucking All by Myself by Celine Dion or something. Make it really emotional, and I'll start like crying like really bad. So this is like, oh my! This is really awkward, and you guys have to just watch me. So I will actually resize this array. Oh, set num, sorry. To 4 in the native construct, just to make sure that we always have 4. This array will always be size 4. My favorite class after FG20. Exactly. Just gonna put a sour note on that whole thing, but yeah. So now we are making sure that our status widgets actually have 4 elements in them, so that then we can just do status widgets player.
But isn't it 5 elements because it starts at 0? I don't know.
Well, it's 4 elements, but the maximum index will be 3.
Oh, okay. That's not at all confusing.
No. Yeah, I think that's the time actually where we do kill them. Like I'll be singing Celine Dion, and they'll be distracted, and then mid song I'll be like, now, 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 and then you guys like pull up like shivs and stuff, and just fucking start stabbing. I think that'll be good. It's like our version of Red Wedding.
Whoa, man.
Yeah,
It's deep.
That's a reference. I haven't actually seen that episode. I just know what happens. Okay. So now we're creating the player status and we're adding it to the array. We're not adding, we're just setting the index. But since I set num to 4 up here, then we know that that index should exist. Emily's more like a season 8. Well, lucky for me, I haven't seen the show, so I don't know what that means. So that's good. Or actually, I watched like 3 seasons and I got super bored, so I stopped.
Isn't there meant to be a set content for slot?
Yeah, it's on here.
Oh.
Actually, I remove all of this fucking green code. I remember I had a programmer at Hazelight, he always said, like, if I see green code in your code, then I remove it. He hated when people like commented out code. He was like, don't do it, just delete it. Like, they were just talking in fucking Game of Thrones. They're just fucking talking. It's like, do I have time for this? No. Oh no. New object call with null pointer class object. Oh. Yeah, because everyone was saying like they were just like having sex all the time. Whoa. Oh, I changed the file. Whoops. Let's just restart this. Yeah, that's what people were saying, that people were just getting down and dirty like every 5 seconds. They were like, every 5 seconds there's a titty on screen. And I was like, dude, that sounds dope. And I watched it and I was just talking.
Yeah, basically that.
Yeah, that's why I watch children's cartoons. Okay, so we get the same error, but now we can actually go up the call stack and see what's going on. So let's see. So here seems to be the problem. Well, that looks good to me. What's going on in here then? Wait, let's check actually what the error was. I'm gonna go to output. New object called with a null pointer class object. That's a lie though. It's class, null. You know what? I think the problem here, because it doesn't look like null, right? I think the problem here is that we changed the type of this T subclass of. Like before it was user widget, and now we changed it to use race player status widget. And I think it's just not catching up to that we changed the type. So I'm just gonna go in and wiggle that property a little bit, just to get it to like kind of reset a little bit, to be like, hey, I changed you, but you're valid. I promise. So let's just do that. Let's just go wiggle it. It can get a little bit fucky sometimes when you change the type of a U property. The blueprint can get a little bit confused. So I'm just gonna go to race overlay and just wiggle that property here. So I'm just gonna set it to none and then set it back to. Wait, it's not here. Oh well, that would explain it. You know what I think happened? I think I didn't save our reparenting of our player status. No, I didn't save it. So you can see here that our player status widget does not inherit over here open parent class. It does not inherit from our C++ base version. So I just go to reparent blueprints and just make sure it's raise player status widget. There we go. Boom. So there we go. So now it's actually inheriting from raise player status widget, and I forgot to save it. So now we should be able to go in here in the overlay and set the player status to be the correct one. There we go. Now I can set it to this. So that's what was going wrong. Oh, you posted a link, YouTube link? Yeah, let's watch it together. What could fucking possibly go wrong?
Do you understand why I had to punish you earlier? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
What a fucking love Psychic Pebble. So funny. Alright, anyway, tangent over.
Wait, how did you make it inherit properly from?
Yeah, so I went to the player status, file, reparent blueprints, and then this raise player status widget.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Man, you guys have to like reel me back in. I'm like going on my fucking gags. I'm like blah blah blah, this and that, this and that. And you guys, okay. Anyway, how did you do the thing? Like bring me back in. Like he's like a dog. You have to pull the leash. I get distracted easily. All right, cool. So now it's working. Of course, we're still not calling the set player name, but at least we're back to where we were before. Only now the status widgets actually have a C++ base class, so that's good. Whoops. All right. So now, in our overlay widget, we have this array of statuses. So whenever we wanna fetch the status widgets of a particular player, we can go through this like this T array here. And then we'll get that particular widget for that particular player. So let's do that then. So in the raise start line, whenever we add a player status, so we're adding it from the overlay widget, I'm gonna fetch it So we'll do status widgets I for the ith player then, and then do set player name. That's a long row of arrows right there. So we'll set the player name then on this widget. And I'm gonna do f string printf. So that will create an f string from a format. So now I can type it in like I would do in printf. I would type like player D. And then I can do I. I'll do I plus 1. So this string colon printf will create a string from a standard C format like this. Imagine we would spend all lecture distracting. Yeah, literally nothing would happen. Like whenever I'm trying to like go out and buy groceries, it takes like 2 hours because I keep like finding like shiny stones to look at.
Oh my god, you're like David.
Tell us your favorite Joseph Fares story. Well, there's only really one story to tell, and that's the fuck the Oscars thing, but I bet you guys already know that one. Otherwise, just Google fuck the Oscars and you'll find it. That was a fun day at the office when that went down. Yeah, it's fuck the. It's funny because like in every other award ceremony where there's two guys, like there's Joseph and there's another guy standing next to him, that guy's name is Oscar. So that is pretty funny actually. All right. So after we've added the player status, we're fetching it from the array here, and then we're setting the player name. Uh-oh. Use of undefined type URaise player status widgets. So again, we have this pretty good problem to have where this widget in here in this array, this URaise player status widget, isn't included. It has only been forward declared here. We haven't included it. Of course, we included it in the actual overlay widget.cpp, but right now we're in raise start line.cpp, and we haven't included it here. And this is a good problem to have. So now I'll just include it here as well. So we'll do raise player status widget. Oh. F-string printf no matching overloaded function found. Oh, whoops, I have to do text here. Whoops, my bad. Oh, hi. Here we go. Forgot about that. Okay, so now that we play the game, the start line is gonna spawn the player, fetch the game mode to add the player status widget for this particular player. Then on that status widget that it has just added, it will set the player name to be, you know, player 1, player 2, player 3, and so on. So this is happening in the start line. The start line is doing this. So this code is not in the actual overlay. The overlay doesn't really do much. All it does is just have the code for how to add each status widget. That's really all that does. But then it's up to everything else that wants to use the status widget to actually do something. In this case, we set the player name. So let's play. Oh god. Exception thrown, read access violation. Get name text block, return null pointer. And that was this blueprint implementable event here. What went wrong? What did we forget to do?
We haven't implemented the blueprint event to get the variable text box.
Yes.
Block.
Very good. Very good. We forgot to actually implement this get name text block in Blueprint, because that was the way that we fetch widgets from Blueprint into C++. So head over into WBP player status. So this text here is what we want to fetch, right? So I'll make this a variable. I'll call it name text block.
Wait, how was the syntax for the printf string text? It was a bit confusing. It doesn't.
F string : printf. And then it's just the standard printf specifiers. So percentage %d means replace this with an integer. And then we provide the integer right afterwards.
Okay, yeah, I had the parentheses on the wrong place.
Yeah, that's easy to do.
Yeah, I don't understand why the I has to be outside the parentheses on this one.
Because this is the text parentheses. That is because we have to use wide strings for for this type. So that's the parentheses for the text block.
I get it, but I actually don't get it. But
I get it, but I don't get it.
Yeah, let's just move on.
Let's just forget about it. Yeah, so I made this text block into a variable. It's called name text. Because this is the text block that we want to fetch from C++. I'll head over into graph. I'll just override the get name text block function here. Just override that and return name text. Yeah, you can drag nodes. So I'm just dragging the name text. I'm just dragging it straight into the return value. And I will just connect the two.
Can I see what the race game mode.h looks like? Because I have error with my
Sure.
get function. I don't know if we use that anymore.
I don't think we have a get. Oh, this one, you mean? Let's take a break here, actually, so you can look at it. And I need to fetch something to eat, so I'll just eat some cereal very quick. So let's take 10 minutes. So let's get back 14:05. Hey. Just hire Ruta for every project, honestly.
I think Ruta's not even paying attention to the lecture right now. So.
Yeah.
Wait, which lecture?
Could you slap her, Thomas?
No.
Okay. I thought I had more power than I did.
Emil, you have to come and do it yourself.
God
so-
damn it! I don't want to do it. I don't want to work.
Loser.
You should get your assistant Tove to do that.
She's
Yeah,
not here.
Yeah, where is Tove actually?
Having fun without you.
Avoiding you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, David is here. Hello, David.
Yeah, can you imagine David's here?
Uta begged me to come because she pities you.
Guess what?
Nothing. No, I'm here.
I know it's true though. All right, so. Okay, so we have. Oh God. Just died. Okay, so. Yeah! Woo! Look, it's player 1 and player 2. That's fantastic, actually. I'm proud. So, that's neat. So let's make it so they actually show which power-up is equipped. Because that was the whole point of this whole fucking thing. This fucking 1 week ordeal was to be able to show which power-up we have equipped.
Wait, the function isn't showing up in the as like overrideable.
Do you have the right parent class? You should say raise player status will appear in the parent class.
Wait, I'm getting a null pointer thing in the get named hex block. There was something we did with that, right?
Yeah, you have to override that.
Oh, right.
I did not have the right parent. Thank you.
No, no problem. Deja vu. Yeah. So let's add so let's add some text then for what kind of power up we have equipped. So I'm gonna add a new text block. And it's up there. I kind of want it to be under the icon. Like I kind of want to have the icon, and under that I want to have the text block. What would be a good way to do this? I've given you the tools. What do I do? What do I add to make the text block be under the...
Vertical something.
Yeah, vertical box. That's a great idea. Let's add it then. I'm gonna add it under the size box. I'm gonna have the size box be the root, and then under that, before the overlay, I want to have a vertical box. I'm just gonna right click the overlay and do wrap with and a vertical box. There we go. And then instead of the text block being a child of the overlay, I'm gonna have the text box be a child of the vertical box. So there we go. So now we have a vertical box with two children. We have an overlay, which contains the the icon and the player name, and then on the second child is a text block. And of course, I can rearrange them if I want the icon to be on the bottom or the top, and vice versa. So I want this to not look like this, because right now they're just taking up like as little space as they can. I want this overlay to I want this overlay to fill as much space as it can. So I'm gonna hit fill on that. Just gonna select the overlay and hit fill. And you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want the size box to actually be the root. I want the vertical box to be the root. So I'm gonna... I'm gonna remove this. Is that gonna remove everything? I think... Oh yeah, this is what you do. To just remove one widget. So I wanna only remove the size box and nothing else. I will right click it, replace with, and then just replace with child. I don't know why it's this hard, just to remove one widget, but it is. So I used to do replace with child here. And now the vertical box became the root. And the reason I did this is that I actually don't want the name of the power-up to be part of the size box. I want that to be on its own. And instead I want to wrap the overlay to be in a size box. So I'm going to wrap this with a size box. So now our vertical box contains a size box on top and a text at the bottom. And now I can set the size box to be a certain size. I will set that to be, what was it, 150 by 150, I think. Yeah, something like that. So now our icon with our player name will always stay the same size. No matter like how big I make this text, right? I can make this as... Whoa. I can make this as big as I want. Yet, okay, well, that's another issue. I'll have to change the alignment here. There we go. I just changed the alignment to, instead of being fill, I used to align center on both. So now this box here will always be the same size, no matter how big the text is. So I'll make the text size be 16, sure. I want to center the text as well, so I'll set the horizontal alignment to be center here. Could also be fill, and then we could change the justification of the text if we wanted to, but I'll use the centered. And again, I'm making sure that size box has size fill here instead of auto. I think in this case that doesn't actually matter, but... Right. So now we have the size box with the icon in it, and then under that we have the text block for the power up. So I'll just write like power up name. And now we can see that this works quite nicely, where if the text grows, like if we have a really, really big power up name, then the player icon still stays in the middle. So that's good. If instead we wanted this text to clip, so instead of growing the whole widget, if you just want this to clip, we could set this to be fill, horizontal. And, oh god. Let's go fuck around with this.
When I make my text longer, the image or the icon stretches. Which setting stopped that?
Yeah, that was this one, horizontal alignment for the size box. So instead of filling, we want to do, just align on the center.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see if I update the clipping mode here. Clipping. Nope, I've actually never done this in my life. Let's see, which setting is it? Transform policy maybe? No. Minimum desired width. Well, shit my pants. I guess I have to add it in the size box to do that, so let's not do that. Okay, whatever. We can't do the clipping text right now. If you guys have to do that for some reason, just text me and I'll show you how to do it. That was embarrassing. This one doesn't matter what the horizontal alignment of the text is. Actually, it does matter. It's supposed to be center. Man, I'm just confusing myself for some reason. If we want to add a little bit of padding, like a little bit of distance in between the icon and the power-up name, I can go into padding here on the text. So on the text, I can go to top and just add a little bit of padding here to make sure that there's a little bit of space in between the text and the icon. Yeah, it is just like Unity, but better. If you have an exception with get name text block, make sure that you have overridden this function here in the blueprints. Probably not. Yes, this lecture is sponsored by EA, by the way. I haven't worked enough with the Unity UI system to tell. If you say so, then sure. Cool. So now we have this power-up name text box. So let's bind that to C++ so that we can actually change it. So I will go to the raise player status widget.h. Now we'll make another blueprint implementable event for get power-up text block. It's funny actually, because I'm getting distracted again, but you guys have to deal with. At one point I remember there was a speed run. There was a race, speed run race. And right at the end, when they were supposed to finish the speed run, they lost connection, and it just says like, oh, connection to EA servers was lost. And they were like, oh, fuck EA. And it was like in the whole chat, it was just like spamming middle fingers and fuck EA. And the funny thing about that is, whenever we had any kind of networking error, like if we fucked up networking for some reason, like just our code messed up, we legally had to show that text. We had to show like connection to EA servers was lost. So most likely it actually wasn't even their fault. It was our networking code that fucked up and broke. And then we just blamed the EA for it. So that was a quite nice we were just like, yeah, fuck EA, ooh, they suck. Stupid servers. That's my story, guys. Yeah, so we have our power-up textbook. Right, so now we can do something like void set equipped power-up, and we'll provide a URace power-up pointer. So whenever we equip a power-up, we're gonna call this function. So we're gonna say like, hey, I equipped the power-up. Hey, status widgets, update your power-up image. There we go. And then we're just gonna do get power-up text block set text. And then we're just gonna fetch, yeah, we'll just do the debug way. We'll just do like get class, get name. Of course, to do this, we need to first forward declare this URace power-up. And then include it in CPP file. Oh gosh, where did I put that? Power-up, race power-up, okay. Whoops. Yeah, so here we have the ftext problem, right? That get name will return a string, so that's the name of the class, right? It will return a string, but we have to convert this to an ftext. So we'll use the ftext from string. Here we go. So I will head over into the status widget. And I want to bind this. Like I want to be able to fetch this power up name widget thing, right? So we're going to graph and override that get power up text block. And then just, oh yeah, we have to make it a variable. Power up text. Make that a variable. Selecting the power up text here and just making it a variable.
How do we make it a variable?
Press this bool.
Which one?
The one right beside the name.
I don't know. This is why I don't like visual stuff. I never see where it is.
It's on my screen, dude.
Yeah, the resolution isn't great, so.
No.
Yeah, but it's top right. Okay, found it.
Right, so after we made it a variable, we'll just drag it out here. And just plop that into the return value in this get power up text text block overridden function. Just to do it, show that one more time. Functions override the get power up text block, the one we defined as a blueprint implementable event. Drag out power up text, drag it into the return value.
I did override that, but I still get the exception.
Exception?
Yeah, from the get name text block function.
In the overlay, in the defaults here, if you click VBP raise overlay, have you set this player widget class to be the correct WBP version?
Yes.
Okay. Show me.
So it's this one, right?
Yeah, show me the exception. Oh, this looks different. If you go to yeah, so you see that this was null pointer.
Yeah.
So that tells me you're calling a function on a null pointer somewhere. So if you go to start line begin play there in the call stack, what is overlay widget now? Oh, you can't hover over it. Oh, you're in development.
No.
All right. I'm assuming the problem here is that you're not setting the status widget, like in that array. Like status widgets I, that's null pointer. So you're calling like set player name on a null pointer.
Right.
So most likely in add player status, you're not adding that widget to the array. So if you go to add player status in the overlay widget there. Yeah. So you're calling set content for slot, but you're not adding it to the array. So you need to do like status widgets. I can show you on my screen what I did. UI here. Yeah, so I'm doing this.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
What we have done now, is this like the correct way to make a UI, or is this just like one of the many ways to make a UI?
This is one of the many ways. The reason I like doing it in C++, because the problem is like, if we didn't do this in C++, this whole thing, then we couldn't reference any of these blueprints, any of these widgets in C++, which means that we wouldn't have any sort of add player status widget function to call. We wouldn't have any set player name function to call. We would have to make like a bunch of callbacks just so we can call those from blueprints. And then we have to do a bunch of casting, and it would be a huge mess. And the reason I'm not a big fan of that is because it splits up the code so much that it becomes like, oh, the functionality is like in C++ for some of the things, but then for UI, suddenly there's like callbacks to blueprint. I have to go look up where those are to figure out like where the UI is interacting with the gameplay and stuff. And it just becomes a little bit of a mess. So that's why I like having my widgets in C++, just as like, just to be able to know where everything is. So if I need to set an icon, I can just call a function in C++ and so on.
Okay.
But you can always reparent the class when you need a CPP version, right?
Yeah. So if you ever want to like move things to CPP, you can use like reparent your old blueprints or your old widgets and reparent those. So you don't need to start over. But yeah, if it's something like, a UI for when you die or something, like maybe that could be done all in blueprints. Like if it's a small thing, then sure, then that can be done in just pure blueprints. It's just for like these bigger system blueprint system widgets, like like the player overlay, having to interface which power up you have equipped and blah blah blah, and maybe the main menu. I will probably make some sort of C++ base class for that. But it's all like depending on what you like to do and how you like to do it and stuff like that. Like I said, you can make the whole game in only blueprints if you want. Okay. So now we bound this player up name, this power up name in C++. So we should be able to change the power up name as we pick up something. Of course, now we're not calling the function, the set power up function on the player status. So it never changes, right? So we have the function to change it, but we just never call it. So let's do that then. So in race car, we have this equip power up function. And that seems like a great place to call the UI to say like, hey, I picked up a new power up. You should update. So here in a race car equip power up, I'm going to call the UI to say, hey, I've updated stuff. So we're gonna do a race game mode get. I'll do auto, whatever. And then we're gonna fetch the status widgets. So we'll do status widget equals game mode overlay widgets status I don't remember the names. Helper, probably I would make a getter function in game mode, probably like a get player status widget or something, so we don't have to always like go into the overlay and then fetch it from that array. But status widgets, that was the name. Status widgets. And now we have a little bit of a problem because we don't have the index. So that sucks. We can perhaps fetch it from, if we do player controller, index, player index. No, probably not. So there's probably a way to fetch it from the player controller or something. But what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna, when I spawn the race car, I'm just gonna have a player index on the race car that I'm setting. So I'm just gonna make a int player index. So I'm just gonna set this player index when I spawn the cars. Just so the race cars have some way to know, like, okay, which player index am I? There we go. So I added this player index here on the race car. And then when I'm fetching the status widgets, I'm just using that player index to figure out which status widget is mine. Great question. U property on the player index. This one doesn't really need to be a U property. Like, perhaps we want to be able to fetch it from Blueprint, actually. So, you know what? Maybe let's just make it a U property. Just in case. I'll make a Blueprint read-only. Like, of course, we don't have to worry about garbage collection or anything. Like, an integer is never going to be garbage collected. But the only reason to make it a U property here is so that we can read it from Blueprint. In case we want to, like, get a car. Like, if we go into a trigger, we want to know, like, okay, which car is this? So then we can do something. Then it could be good to have to be able to read the player index from that.
Do you lose anything on making stuff U property? Like, does it take memory? Does it like, should you be careful doing it?
I mean, it does take memory, but we're talking bytes of memory. So, I mean, no, not really. It's also probably gonna take a little bit of time to set it up, so it's gonna probably take a little bit of processing time. But again, that's super negligible. One tutorial said to make everything by default an empty U property. I don't believe in that rule, but it doesn't hurt, I suppose. I am just a beginner. Okay. What does that mean? Is that a reference? Right. So now that we're fetching the status widget, of course we have to do some including here. First of all, we have to include race game mode. So I'm gonna include that. Then we have to include the overlay widget. So I'll include that. So we're including game mode and the overlay widget. And then we have to include the actual status widget here, because we're going to call it in a second. Like, in a second, we're going to call, like, status widget set equipped power up, or whatever the function was called. I don't remember.
What did we need to include? Race game mode and...
Race game mode, overlay widgets. And now also the power, like the status widgets. We'll have to include that as well.
Wait, can you pause for a second here at the top?
Yep, I'll pause.
Thank you.
Yeah, there is no right way. Unfortunately, in anything. Anyone who says there is a right way is lying.
What's the left way?
That's shutting down the computer and walking to bed. Sometimes you just have to go left. Okay, so we have the game mode, we're fetching the status widget, and then I'm actually gonna look up what this function was called, because I don't remember. It was set the quick power up. Oh, I don't know. I'm just that good. So we're fetching from the overlay, we're fetching our specific status widget. And then we're setting the equipped power up on that particular widget. In general, I mean, this is more of a design question more than a programming strictly question. Like, how do you design your systems? I prefer to have more of a pushing mentality with widgets. Meaning that systems push data to the widget. That's what we're doing here. We're fetching the widget and we're pushing data to it. We're saying like, hey, widgets, show this power up now. The antithesis... No, wait, antithesis means something else. I don't remember what I mean. The opposites. The opposite way of doing things would have the widgets polling data. So that would have widgets have some sort of reference to the player and continuously reading from the player like, hey, have you a new power up, or register some event to be like, oh, you've equipped a power up, I should update myself, and like always updating itself. So those are kind of the two different paradigms that I've seen when it comes to widgets. I prefer to always push. Because it's just less bug prone, in my opinion. It's kind of hard to explain why. It's just kind of this is kind of a feeling in my tummy. Like in A Way Out, we did a lot of polling widgets where the widgets continuously read from the player. And all that always happened was that we changed the player in some way, and suddenly we had to go through like 50 widgets to update them to poll the correct way. Instead of when we changed the player, we used to have to update all places where we push to the widgets and make sure those works. Then it just makes the widgets they make them smaller, it makes them simpler, and they become more reusable. Now, I won't say that it's super reusable usually, but it makes them more likely to be able to be reusable when you do pushing rather than pulling. So, yeah, kind of a design discussion more than a programming discussion per se, but that's what I'm doing now, at least. I'm doing a pushing methodology for updating my widgets rather than a pulling or polling.
I take it event-based UI isn't really a thing in C++/Unreal.
It totally could be. Like, we could add events on a race car, for example. We could add events for like, oh, on power up equipped. And, you know, maybe that would be a good thing. And then we could have just a widget bind to that event. Just bind to that on power up equipped event. And when that happens, then the widget does something.
Cool.
So it totally could be a thing, yeah. I think I blanked out around the time you started saying design. I think that was maybe for your own good. So let's see then what happens.
Maybe set the player index.
Oh, you spoiled it. I was gonna show how it didn't work. Oh, you asshole. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. We we never actually set the player index on the car. So let's just go ahead and do that. Very good catch. Very good catch. That's a good one.
Maybe +1. Aren't we using it for the text that's showing? No.
Yeah, so that's kind of the thing, right? The index is 0 based. But when we actually draw the text for like what the player should look like, you know, whenever we're talking like, oh, I'm playing Mario, that means I'm player 1, even though the index would be player 0, right? And then Luigi would be player 2. So usually when you talk about player numbers, you talk in 1 based, like the first player is player 1, and then you have player 2. So that's the reason I did +1 in the text, just to follow that sort of.
Oh yeah, we did it there.
Yeah. So let's see. If I pick up a power up, boom. Then we can see here the text. It's a little bit hard to see because of all of this fucking debug printing. But we see here BP Boopa Poopa Shell power up. So now it actually says here which power up we have equipped. And since I didn't recompile with the player index, and if the second player comes along, did I compile with the player index? I guess I did. Okay, so it works for both players then. That's great. Fan-fucking-tastic. So, let's make it go away then when we actually fire off the shell. So when we actually use the projectile, we want it to go away the text, right? Because now it's stuck on this Poopa Shell power-up until we pick up something else.
Can we first look at race car CPP?
We
first?
can look at race car. Race car.
For some reason, it's not recognizing the auto type. Cannot deduce auto type.
Okay. Show me.
And pointer to incomplete class type U race overlay widget is not allowed.
Yeah, I think you might need to include overlay widgets. I think that's the reason your auto is fucking up.
God, it's always the include, man.
Yeah, always. Yeah, man. Well, that's a good problem to have, like I said. Where compile times will be very speedy. Actually, I mean,
Oh, no, you go first.
Yeah, actually, I was gonna say the compile times in this small project it won't be that big, but as it grows, the compile times will be bigger. Okay, or smaller, shorter. Okay, go ahead, Thomas.
When I pick up a power up, the image gets bigger. What did I do wrong?
You have to set the center aligned on the icon.
The icon.
Yeah, on the not on the icon, but the size box text, the size box that contains the icon.
Okay.
Yep. Ah! I shot the cap on my face.
Wait, center lined on the size box.
Yeah, I'll show you.
That contains the icon.
I will show you. So I click the size box that contains the icon, and then here in horizontal alignment I'll do align center.
Yeah, mine is that.
I think you're lying. Show your screen. You fucking liar. Okay, make the text all big. So like type a bunch of shit in the text there. Yeah, it does work. Make sure to compile and save, and let's try in the game. Save. Oh my god, you're driving limos? Yeah, it doesn't. So you were lying. What do you have to say in defense, Thomas?
You're muted.
Yes!
You're muted.
I know. Wait, so I have to save as well. Because I compiled, I know I compiled.
You're muted.
Yeah,
I'm not muted.
We can't hear you, Thomas.
Wait, was that a joke?
What?
Am I
Thomas,
muted
you're
or
muted,
not?
Thomas.
No, it's not a joke. I can't hear you.
You're muted.
I'm not muted.
Yes, you are.
You're not
No.
muted. You're not muted, Thomas.
Stop bullying people, jeez.
Yeah, look who's talking.
Emil, you're so fucking mean, Jesus.
Oh, I'm sorry, Thomas.
Okay, so back to my question here.
Okay, what's your
Am I
question?
muted or not? No, because you can hear me. Why do I have to save after I compile? Does that make a difference or something?
I have no idea. I would have to see what you did to make that happen.
I did nothing. I just like went in, checked. Okay, it was that, and then I just did. It was that, and then I changed it, compiled, save, and then it worked. So I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's like if you don't save, then it doesn't update properly. Could be. I'm not quite sure.
Why is compile and save two different buttons?
I think you can actually mark it to. Yeah, here you can do save on compile always.
Oh my god.
Oh my fucking god. Hey Niklas.
I have a question about the players. Everything is working fine for me now, what we did today, but when I play, I still have like the second player show up in their own window instead of in the world with my first player.
Ah.
What have I missed?
Settings, project settings, maps and modes, and then uncheck this use split screen option here.
It is unchecked.
The plot thickens.
I'm not lying. Like Thomas.
I've been hurt before. Okay, can you show? Actually, let's just finish this.
Okay.
And then we can look at it later. Okay. So we only have 10 minutes, and I wanna just hide the. I just wanna hide the power up name before we call it a day. So what we wanna do is that when we unequip a power up, so when we shoot it or something, we want to hide that text. So what I'm gonna do is in the status widget, I'm gonna set the function, this set equip power up, to be if you pass in null pointer as a power up, that means you have no power up equipped. So that means like you shot something or something like that. So that's the way I'm gonna define how set equip power up is. Another way would be to have a separate function like unequip power up or something, or reset power up. Those are totally valid, maybe even better. But I will define my set equip power up to be like if you pass in null pointer, that means you have no equip power up. So I will do if power up is null pointer, then I will set the visibility. Set the visibility of this get power up text block to okay, it is a proper enum. Oh, it is an enum class. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'll do eSlate visibility, and then here we have the visibility options like before. I'll do collapse, sure. Otherwise, so if we set a null pointer as the power up, I will just hide the text box. Just hide it. Otherwise, if we are passing in a valid power up, then I will set the visibility to be visible.
But doesn't it mean if you collapse it, like the icon in the corner will sort of... Well, it's just for the lower ones.
Yeah.
They will sort of move down slightly.
Oh, you're right, actually, yeah. That's a very good point. Let's do hidden instead. Very good.
Because you don't want them to jump around,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Very good point. I didn't think of that. I'm so stupid, I should have thought of that. Okay, so now we can pass in null pointer as the power up to hide the power up text block. So let's do that then. Let's go then. So I will go to race car. I'll keep that on screen actually. Here, I'll keep this on screen. So in the race car, wherever we are, I hear this. So wherever we are deactivating our power up, Emma's gonna have sleep issues. Oh yeah, I will be laying in bed like, they think I'm so stupid now. Stupid. And I have a pillow with Nikla's face on it. I will slam it. Stupid.
Hey, you don't need a pillow. I can just come over.
Oh, nice. Yeah, let's do it. We can watch. We can fight in real life. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Eyes popping out of head. Dog rolls out like red carpet. That's a good one. Okay, so when we set the power up to null pointer, then we're gonna do.
Oh no.
Then we're gonna do. Yeah, so then we have to fetch the. Status screen again, like we did before. So let's do that. Game mode is equal to. Sorry?
Can we just equip power up with null pointer instead? Like use the function and put in null pointer.
We could do that, yeah, let's do that. Set equip power. What is it called? Equip power up, there we go. Equip power up. Null pointer.
It makes me wonder how much other things we could simplify.
Nothing, we can simplify nothing. Okay, so now we have to do an if check here. So if power up not equals null pointer. Otherwise we're gonna
Wait, what did you actually do there? Didn't we already?
So before this was power up equals null pointer.
Power up equals, yeah.
Yeah, so I replaced this line with equip power up null pointer. Right. So now this should work then. Just we have to just make sure that not call setup on the null pointer. So I'm just doing a null pointer check there, and then we're sending it into this equip power up. Let's try it. See what happens. Så. Ja men det är ju namas problemas. So if I equip the thing now and then shoot it, then the text goes away. That's good. So I can equip, but then when I shoot, boom, text goes away. Fantastic. Now we can just easily fix the, you know, the fact that this temp text is here. We can just easily fix this by hopping over into the player status widget. And you're setting this to hidden by default. So now this power-up text will be hidden by default. So when we haven't equipped anything in the beginning of the game, this will be hidden. Yeah, so there we go. And now if I equip something, boop. Let me see, the poop shell power up, shoot. I died, that wasn't really on purpose, but... So I pick up a power up, shoot, die. Intro to the Immigrant song. No, that was the Gorillaz song. Alright, so... Yeah, that's cool. We didn't really get to the setting the icon, which is sad, because that's kind of what I wanted to do. I think that would have been an interesting thing to do. Unfortunately, we didn't get to that. Maybe we'll do that next week. I guess we'll see how much lessons versus just own work there's gonna be. Like if you guys request it, then we can have that lecture. But I'll set up some Google form or something so you guys can request which lectures you want to have. Especially when we get to the last week, I want to make sure that what I teach you guys are what you really want to know. Right now, I'm just like teaching you like random things in Unreal that I think is good to know. Like I think it's good to know UI, and it's good to know how to make components and all of that stuff. But then next week I want to do like, oh, we really want to know about animation, right? Before we start our project, then I can teach you animation. Or I really want to know about sound, then I can teach you about sound. And it's just like, I'll have you guys request what you want to know. And of course, using your, you can of course use Sahil for that as well. I will upload the latest version of the project, yes.
Emil, is there anything like super core or super important that we haven't gone through yet? That you feel like we really should go through this?
Not that I can think of, at least. Unless I'm forgetting something. I think I've been trying to teach you guys the most important tools. Oh, there is one thing we didn't go through actually, and that's level transitions. So maybe next, it's not hard, like it's quite easy. It's just a function call, but maybe next week we can go with that if you want. And the other thing that I would have really liked to go through would be doing stuff like a menu where you can have button inputs to the widgets, because that's something that people struggle with a lot in their game projects. So maybe next week we can do like a simple menu just so I can show like how does input work in UI and so on. That could be a good thing to do. But I'll leave it at that for now. I will say, if we wanted to add stuff like icons, to our power-ups, the way I would do that, like I'm just gonna show you, like we have all the tools already to do something like that. But I would, just to help you on the way, if you wanted to do something like that in the power-up. So here's the base class for the power-up. I would add some sort of view property. Like edit defaults only. Like a U texture 2D icon. So every power-up would have some sort of reference to a texture, which would be its icon. And then on every power-up you add, you just assign that icon to whatever you want it to be. And then in set equip power-up, I would get like the reference to the image in the UI and set set the image to be that icon. And here you can also do stuff like you want to add a text, like the actual name, so then I will make like a text to be like power-up name. So I could actually name my power-up something good, something human readable, rather than the class name. Right. So then instead of doing this, like getting the class and getting the name, I will just do like power-up name. And not even from string this. Like that. So this is how I would do something like adding icons and adding power-ups names to power-ups.
I ran into something a couple days ago where so it was kind of the thing with the icon and the power-up properties here. And I tried to put them in the parent class. And I don't remember exactly, but I think I had trouble using them in the derived classes.
Really?
Yeah, is there something with that, or was I just screwing up?
Yeah, it's hard to say. It could have been a bunch of things. Most likely right now it's because I'm putting it in private. So maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But these could just as well be in the parent class, right?
Yeah, I would put this in the power class and in the parent class, yeah. Yeah. Tween Queen. Oh, that's a basic name. Yeah, but so that's it. That's it for the structured lessons. Or I mean, as structured as my lessons can possibly be. I will, as I say, I will devise some sort of Google Doc. I will post the assignment on Canvas probably today, so you can read it through. I'll give some examples of what you could do and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll paste some Google Docs so you guys can request lessons from me if you want them. And otherwise, I'll just be here helping you guys out with whatever. I'll just be a general mentoring stuff. Cool. I hope you're ready for your game projects. Confident, happy, satisfied. Can you mentor us on GPT? I hope I can. I will talk to Christer. Great work, guys. Thanks for this course. It's been a very fun. I mean, it's not over yet, but I don't know why I'm saying it like I'm gonna die or something. But yeah, thanks for this course. It was fun, even though Unreal is a little bit of a monster. Great. Any last questions or anything? Anyone who needs help before we go?
Yeah, can you help me with my player issue before you go?
Yes, I'll help you with your player issue. Otherwise,
My thing broke again, so I need help with that as well.
Yeah, I'll help you as well, Thomas. Okay, well, I'll stay here.
Thanks a bunch.
Yeah, no problem. I'll stay here and help, and then everyone else can piss off to do whatever they feel like doing today. So, have a nice Easter, guys.
Language, Emil, language.
I'm sorry. You can walk away gracefully and do påsk things. So, okay, I'll see you around. Bye bye.
Oh, Emil, by the way, there's a pullover for you on our on the teacher's computer. You have to come to school and get it.
There's a pullover?
Pullover.
What's a pullover?
Sweater. A sweater.
Pullover.
What's strata?
A sweater, a hoodie.
Oh, a sweater. Oh, yeah, I've heard about that. I'll come in and get it sometime.
Some point when?
At some point. Maybe when I mentor you for...
GP20 will be gone?
Yeah, I don't want to...
You will leave them without visiting them?
I don't want to see them again, actually. So
without saying goodbye?
No, I don't... Yeah, hopefully
How fucking dare you?
I hate saying goodbye. It's the worst.
With never coming to school, leaving all your students alone.
Yeah, that's how I do. I'm like the funny uncle who like tells jokes, but then when he's actually needed, I just fuck off.
The funny uncle is usually also racist.
Oh, I'm very racist. Oh, holy shit.
Oh my fucking god, goodbye.
Yeah.
I think we're like long lost brothers, actually.
Oh, yeah?
When I hear you say that, yeah.
We could be, actually. Yeah, we could be. We look alike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. All right, let's see the problems then.
Okay. Can I go first?
Sure.
let's see here.
It's the most confidence goes first.
This is definitely gonna help my confidence.
Yes.
Yeah, so I get this when I start still.
Oh,
with 2
okay, that's
players.
the problem. Okay. Yeah, so that means you have to go into your play settings. So like the arrow next to play. Yeah, exactly. And then do number of players 1. There you go.
But aren't you spawning more players?
Yeah, but
The
that
one
has
player.
nothing to do with that number of players. That is only really used for networking. So what you're doing when you're doing 2 players there, when in standalone mode, is that you're starting 2 games that are completely separate from each other. So yeah, what you want to do is go to the start line, and on the start line set how many players you want to have.
Start line.
Yeah, in the level, that is.
Oh, what, like in the...
Yeah, in the level.
Blueprints?
Yeah, no, not in the blueprint.
This
just,
guy.
You just click on it, yeah. And then you should have a number of players there, yeah.
Here we go.
You just increase that.
Whoa!
There you go, wow. Amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Easy. No problem. Thomas.
Yes.
What will I do with you?
Throw me out of the window.
Yes. Okay, what's up?
Let's see. So, size box. There was this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just the size box.
Yep.
Yeah. And I swear to God if it works now. And that's it. Did it change? I didn't see.
Doesn't look like it changed.
No, it moves to the right.
Yeah, it moves a bit to the right, yeah.
Yeah, because of the text length.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Is
that
it
happens.
supposed to do that?
Well, I mean, it does that on my screen as well. I mean, that's all I can say.
Okay,
Really.
then that's okay.
Yeah.
So the entire thing should, in accordance to your code, move to the right when you pick up something.
Yes.
Or the image. Okay.
Because the entire
Then-
widget grows horizontally by the text.
Yeah, because we don't do the clipping thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, then it all makes sense now.
Alright,
Okay,
cool.
sorry.
Man, this is the easiest bug fix I've ever done in my life.
Where do I stop share? Oh, there.
Okay. Anyone else, or are we ready for Easter?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to skip Easter entirely.
Oh, really? And work?
Yeah, I have a couple of bugs.
Okay.
By a couple, I mean many.
You want to look at them, or you want to go through it yourself?
I don't know. I'm probably gonna need to go through because I think I'm missing a couple of functions and some things.
Yeah.
We were going kind of fast, so.
Yeah. Today was a bit. I wanted to get through this, so that's why. Kind of sped up a little bit. But yeah, you'll have plenty of time.
And I'm basically missing all of that visual mumbo jumbo that you did in the widgets.
Oh no.
So missing quite a few parts.
Yes. Just look over the videos and let me know if you have any issues.
Oh, I have issues already. It's crashing.
Oh, that's great.
Maybe you can help me solve that one part that makes it crash. I don't know.
I can do that.
It's crashing so. Let's see. Where's the share screen? So let's just try and run it first.
You have some build errors, I think.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. What's this? Let me see.
Semicolon. All right, first compile error fixed. Easy.
And let's see.
Oh, here you're missing. You're missing the
yeah,
arguments
I'm
for.
missing the. I think I'm missing the whole function actually.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, that's what the function looks like.
And where the heck did it?
So I think you want to replace those angled brackets.
Yeah, this isn't. Yeah, way too many. Let's see, power up. Let's see.
I would love to know
I
which
don't know.
was-
I don't know. This is. I need to go back to check what the heck you did with this thing.
Yeah, go back and watch the videos. I think that's
Yeah.
gonna be easiest.
Yeah.
Get a refresher on things. All right.
I have
Um,
another question, if that's okay, but it's not like help related. It's more of a question. So
You
Yep.
don't have to ask if you can ask questions, Thomas.
no, but it's more like because it's not a help related. It's just more of like a general thing, I guess.
Just ask it. Just go ahead. What's up?
So yesterday when I asked Sahil something about doing references or casting and stuff, then he said to avoid global getters. What is like a good way to get an actor or something in a scene, like without having to get like player index and shit like that? If you kind of know what I'm asking.
I'm not quite sure what he means by that. What was the context of the question? Was it like get player controller or?
Well, I showed him a thing I did made in widgets, and he said to, because I did like, I got the player index 0, and I casted it to like a player or the blueprint of my player. So I got like the player index, and he said like instead try to get something which has a reference to the player instead of having to get the player index, get world, and all of that thing. I think that was the issue. I'm trying to find what I sort of posted. Yeah, I was getting like the player pawn, which was index 0, and then casting it to BP player to get like my player.
Hold on, I'm gonna read this answer. Another smaller, more opinionated tip is to try to avoid. You try and access this using some context you already have, if possible. Reason being that potentially using these functions work for now in your local single-player game. But the moment you might take it with local co-op, split screen, or multiplayer, stuff will break. I'm guessing what he means is that like when you create a widget, for example, you should send in the player with the widget so that the widget has a reference to the player.
Okay.
I think that's what he means. But I'm not sure. I don't really agree with his opinion, amazingly, because in the end, so much of Unreal is global getters, like getting the game mode, getting the game instance, like all of those are global getters, you know. I think his more concern is with like these particular ones because they kind of get a little bit fucky when you start doing multiplayer and stuff. But I think you would have that problem no matter what. Like that's gonna be hard even if you don't use global getters, perhaps. But yeah, it has a point there, sort of. Yeah, that.
But I should see it more like use global getters as like the sort of the final option. Like if there is another way I can do it, use that instead.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say so. Like for our widgets, like our status widget, for example. Like if we did a polling, because I mean we are kind of avoiding that now, right? Since we're not doing polling in our widgets, we're not doing like our get player pawn, cast to a race car, fetch what's equipped power up there is. Since we're not doing that, we're avoiding doing these sort of things where we like kind of have to fetch the player with some global function and then read from it and stuff. So this is one design paradigm which kind of avoids that problem of having like to get global stuff all the time. So that might be one way to restructure things to avoid that. Another way, in our case, if we did do polling, where like the status widgets were reading from the player what equipment they have and so on, I would probably, when we add the status widgets, so when we call like the add player status bar thingy, I would send in a reference to the car and set that on the widgets, so the widget has a direct variable that just points to the car. So then it also has to can avoid using these global functions, but in the end, I'm not super scared of globals like this. But he does have a point, even though I might not maybe fully agree with it. But sort of up to you what you like and don't like.
Okay.
But it's a good question. It's a very good question.
Yes. Thank you for the answer.
No problem.
I fixed the problems, but I found another one that's making my game crash anyway.
Okay. What's that issue?
I don't understand. I thought I wrote the thing correctly, but it's in the race game mode. It's this one, line 26. I mean, I can launch it no problem, but it crashes after when I press play. Save everything, run it. And I don't understand why it crashes when I press play, because it looks fine to me. But maybe it's the null check that's causing the problem. Also have like a bunch of other things that's...
Okay, show me.
Well, I'll just press play and let's see how things go. It's not crashing.
You're not playing.
Oh.
No, you have a compiler error in
yeah, I know.
Run in debug mode. Always run in debug mode.
I think it's in debug mode.
I think you're hitting the arrow. You have to hit the little bug on the right. This little bug. Oh. Like right next to the arrow. There's a little bug.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, so that's running in debug mode.
But I thought Oh, it was in a Rider. No, not in Rider. In Visual Studio. I think I fixed that, but not in Rider.
Yeah, I mean in Visual Studio it's always in debug mode. Like this is different from the debug game configuration. Like debug modes means like the IDE is attached to the process, which means like if you crash, you'll see where you crashed and why and so on. Whereas if you're not running in debug mode, it's just gonna quit, which is not very helpful. So yeah, it's kind of weird that Rider...
I thought I fixed that, but then I changed to Rider, so that's probably one of the problems.
Yes.
So let's see what happens. And why does it complain about map anyway?
I don't think it's compiling. You have to click cancel for it to show up. It's kind of weird. Yeah, now click map.
Because I know there was like some error here in the map.
Well, I guess okay. You have to go into. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, sorry. So
yeah, create widget there. You don't have any class selected. Just remove this code. We don't need it. The construct and add to viewport, like you remove all those.
All of this.
Yeah. We just had those as testing.
Oh. Let's see if that fixes the problem then. No.
Yeah, so let's see then. New object called with null pointer class object. Okay. So let's go up in the stack to a race game mode start match.
Where is the start match? This one.
Yes. And let's hover over overlay widget class then. Let's see what that is.
Where is overlay widget class?
In codes, like in the code window.
Let's see.
Go to the blue line.
blue lines.
On the right side.
I
The
don't
code
know.
window. Right side. Did you
Yeah,
see
I
it? It's right there.
Nope.
It's
This
right
one.
at the bottom
This
of your
here.
screen. Yeah, it's blue. Okay, there you go. And you just
No,
hover over.
it's more like green on my
Okay.
on mine. So
Fair enough.
I was like,
Okay,
yeah.
so hover over overlay widget class.
It's null, but
Overlay widget class.
overlay widgets.
Overlay widget class on the right.
Erase.
Overlay widget class on the right.
Where the hell is overlay widget class?
On the right.
This one.
Yes.
Using class of erase overlay widget.
Okay, so it's set to something.
Mm.
So that probably means. Oh wait, raise overlay. Okay, I see what the problem is.
Is
Yeah.
it a like parenting thing that's?
Yeah, I think so. So if you go, if you restart.
Because I know we did some reparenting, but I don't remember what we were reparenting.
Yeah, so go to blueprints, widgets.
I'm assuming it's this one, raise overlay.
Yeah.
But right now it is raise player status widget. That is the. Isn't this the correct one?
Well, which widget are you in right now?
This is the raise overlay.
Right. So you're not in the player status
Raise
widgets.
player. Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So what do you want to inherit from?
Reparent. I need it to be. There's the raise overlay. Raise overlay. This one.
Yep. Then save.
Save.
Yeah, save it.
Where the heck did it go? I just wanna. Can I never? I just wanna. When I compile, then it's also saves.
Yep, that's good.
Figure that's better because I often compile and forget to save. So.
Yep. All right, what happens now then?
Let's see. Still complaining about map.
I think you didn't save it.
Ah. Go to map. Yep. I need to fix this here. All right, let's push save just to make sure.
Did it crash?
Maybe.
Check rider.
Yeah, I'm trying, but let's see. Exception, encountered at address.
All right, so go off the. Go to race start line begin play.
Let's see.
Okay, I see the problem.
Display mode. Oh, there's way too much stuff here.
Just go to add player status. It's almost on the top of the call stack.
This one.
Add player status.
Oh. Let's see. Erase.
So probably here player widget class is not set to anything.
Is this supposed to be a erase stat switch, or is it supposed to be a what's the other thing called?
Overlay.
Yeah.
No, we're in the overlay right now, and it's trying to create a status widget, but it's failing. So what is player widget class?
Erase player status widget.
What's the value? Okay, nothing. So you haven't set the player status widgets on the player widget class.
Is that in the blueprint?
Yes, that's in blueprint.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. I missed a couple steps on the blueprint thing.
You have to restart.
I think it's hard to work with blueprints simply because it's so visual. There's too much stuff there.
Yep.
So I see everything, but I see nothing at the same time.
Yeah, it's a learning curve. Alright, so we have to go into the overlay blueprint.
Let's see now.
You want to click the in the hierarchy. In the hierarchy there in the left, you want to click the race overlay then. Yeah. And then player widget class.
Let's see. It's not set to anything.
No.
Okay. Let's see. Race player.
Well,
stats.
it seems like you haven't parented the player status correctly either.
Yeah, I missed a couple things. Let's see.
Let's go and reparent that.
Race player status widget. Where the heck is that thing then? It's this one.
Yep.
It's user widget.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Race player status.
Good. Then we can go back to race overlay.
This is the other one. Let's see, where is that one then? Oh.
It's on the top left.
Yeah, but I thought I had both open.
Yeah, there it is in the top left of that window you're in. Oh, yeah, we're used to that.
Let's see, and this one was the overlay, so status widget. Wait a minute, this is the overlay, so shouldn't it be like an overlay here?
No, the overlay is trying to spawn player statuses. So it wants a player status.
But what's the difference between, there's two of them, VBP and then race player status widget.
Race player status widget is the C++ base class.
But it is, I think it's this one we need.
The C++
And the other
base
one is
class.
the blueprint.
Okay. Why do you think that?
I don't know. I think it's this one, but I'm not 100% sure.
The C++ class has no widgets in it. It has no it doesn't look like anything.
Of course, it's just the base class. It doesn't have any of the other
Yeah.
things. So it has to actually be this one, because this one is the one that has all the visual mumbo jumbo in it.
Yes, exactly.
Ah,
Save.
I have to save the damn thing again. Why can't there be one button like save everything?
Well, there is a save all button, but I don't know how well that actually works.
Yeah, it doesn't. A lot of the times when I press save all and I think it saves everything, it doesn't.
Yeah, it has tendency to do that. Right, so now you haven't overridden the get name text block function in the right, but now you're like your base classes is correct now, so you're caught up to that. Now it's just about
I'm just gonna look through the video and see.
Yeah, you just look
what
through
else.
the video. I think that's gonna be
Yeah.
just easier.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yep.
But yeah, you're not that far off. Like you're.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty close.
Yeah,
But I'm just missing a couple of functions. And,
yeah, there's just a few things you need to add, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah. But I'm gonna watch it through again because I need a refresher on how the widgets work and what I need to do.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Have a nice Easter.
Yeah, you too. All right, bye bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.